there be some, it's not very good. With your permission, allow me to switch off the video, but at any point, should need be, I'm happy to switch on my video for the sake of visibility and things like that. Thank you so much. Okay, if we go a little bit back to our 14th AGM, which was held at Radford Blue, that was on the 5th of May. I did stand before your members where I promised that we are going to work on the e-voting system. But before the e-voting system, I did highlight that we had quite a number of other equally critical needs which were competing at Secretariat. From there, we highlighted some of which were having a full-fledged DRP system, which also handled, which had the membership management module. And now this, I think most of you, if not everyone, will agree with me that there's a bit of frustrations when you are registering for membership to take on your profile and things like that. So I did stand and indicated to say we needed a system, a robust system, which not only was going to allow us to interact with the Secretariat, but it was going to be integrated with our financials so that all the transactions we make through our membership portal should automatically be reconciled with our financials. In addition to that, there was an issue of having an e-voting system itself, either as a component to the memberships module or a separate system, but also failure. There was need for event management system, which was going to be managing our events, because you agree with me that we've had frustrations quite a lot on an aspect of how our registration is done when we have the events. My executive council, myself, and the Secretariat at large, we understand the challenges we get to have when it comes to such moments. We are an ICT profession, but then I always asked your patience. I asked for your patience and I asked for your time to say, let me look at all this in a comprehensive manner, which is going to help us move from a very bigger picture. I further promised that I was in the process of composing a project delivery team, which was going to be composed of the members amongst ourselves, who are going to help us to see how we're going to achieve this particular task. Happy to communicate to you, our members, that I received overwhelming support, not just from Executive Council, but Secretariat as well. And we managed to have a team established. So the project delivery team composed of Mr. Elton Makaliki. Mr. Elton Makaliki was by that time the project manager for e-channels at NAPSA. I think I shouldn't labor much to talk about him. I think most of us knows the passion he has for the association. Secondly, there was Mr. Twiza Swale. Mr. Twiza Swale, an IT manager, rather whole IT manager by that time at Zika. So he was coming in from that perspective as someone who has been in a similar environment, a member-driven association before. Additional to that, there was Winter Musukwa, who is the manager systems development and implementation at ZRA. And again, his experience in system development is unquestionable, and he will speak from that angle. There was Mr. Emmanuel Kalenge. Mr. Emmanuel Kalenge he sits on our professional technical and affairs committee, and obviously brings with him vast knowledge in that aspect. In addition to that, we had our very own systems administrator, who is Clarence Mkanze, and who was subsequently the secretary of the committee. So the committee, in its wisdom, sat and chose who was going to be the chair. Of course, it worked with full support from ourselves, and they chose Mr. Elton Makaliki to chair their committee. So basically, the mandate, which there were 2 others, which I pass on to them, were to look at the e-voting, the membership system, the financial system should be integrated with the membership system, which should have components of HR, procurement, and things like that. Then also the event management application. With me is Mr. Elton Makaliki. I think I'll just give him some few minutes to join me through and just give a report back on that journey, on how they executed the mandate which was given to them. So then from there, I'll pick the rest. So, Tim, allow me to invite Mr. Makaliki as the chair for the PTT to explain to us. Mr. Makaliki.
Okay. Thank you so much, Registrar, and good afternoon, colleagues. I think for me, it's an honor to be given this opportunity to support the association in this manner, and to also present an update on this task that was given to us on behalf of my colleagues. So just to pick up from where Registrar left off, I think our main mandate was to support the Secretariat with delivering 4 key projects. The finance management system, basically the ERP that should encompass the financial, procurement, payroll, and human resource modules. This is one of the pillars of the operations of the association, or rather the Secretariat. And on top of that, we needed to support the Secretariat as well with regards to delivering a membership management system. So this is a system that is basically supposed to come as an enhancement, that is supposed to come with enhancements to what we have. I think I will not go in detail with explaining the challenges that we've had with the existing system, but there was a need for us to look at how we can get a more robust system that can help us to have seamless processes relating to registration, generation of our certificates, practicing licenses, processing our payments, ability to upload and update all the details, and also be able to update our CVs there, among other things. And the third one was to look at the e-voting, which we'll talk about in detail as we go through this discussion. And finally, I think there was a need for us to look at an event management system that should also help us with effective management of our events. Colleagues, you can agree with me that we can obviously get better in how we manage, especially events like AGM, from beginning to end. So we needed to create a solution in that respect. So we embarked on this project and took an approach that was based on best practice. So we focused on looking at addressing the key fundamental principles of project management, which is the time, cost, and scope. And this is on the backdrop of looking at the state of the Secretariat with regards to their financial capacity, and also looking at the amount of work that they needed to be doing. So with that, we started with conducting some feasibility studies we did both desktop studies and also some physical studies. We looked at some sister institutions that we thought we could learn from that have gone ahead of us. Key to mention, we had some sessions with Zika, and we're grateful for that. They took us through their journey. I think Zika has been in existence for a very long time. And we did pick out key lessons in that respect. We also had some conversations with EIZ. And on top of that, we did just some benchmarking through desktop reviews, both locally on what other institutions are doing, institutions such as ZMA, MWAS, and what our fellow colleagues are doing in Isaka. So we did all these studies over a period of about 2 months, and it helped us to shape our approach. So through those studies, we established what are the pain points that our colleagues have gone through from other institutions, and just what's trending with regards to what we're trying to deliver. So I will not go so much into detail on what we discovered, but basically just some lessons that we picked, particularly with what we're trying to do related to some of the considerations we could look into with regards to the ERP systems that we're trying to implement, and also the e-voting. Of the institutions that we looked at, Zika is the only one that we found who had implemented their own e-voting system internally, but that is something that they had been working on for quite some time, and it's been going through several phases of perfection. The others have been using some online solutions in the recent past, and we did pick out some of those for possible consideration. So having done that, we then went into looking at some key considerations that we needed to take into account for purposes of giving a very clear recommendation to Secretariat or with regards to how we should approach this task. So the first one was the time consideration. So we needed to look at how much we'll be able to deliver within the time that we had. I think what was clearly worth noting was that whatever we're trying to deliver with respect to the scope that we had the bearing on the upcoming AGM, and therefore the deadline was before the AGM, all these tasks needed to be completed. So that's the time that we're looking at. So we needed to ensure that the e-voting and the operation system at the Secretariat are all done before the AGM. And coupled with that, we also needed to ensure that all these systems that we are proposing to implement at the Secretariat go through all the necessary processes within this very time. So that means testing them extensively and ensuring that we have acceptable levels among the members in terms of trust and buy-in, and also just be able to give assurance that they are fit for purpose. So in looking at the time, we started these works sometime in June, July. So we are looking at a period of about 6 months to deliver these systems. So it was important for us to explore better ways of doing this so that we don't get caught up on account of time and then having to come back to explain to the members, which was not going to be something that would be accepted, even for me speaking as a member. So with that, we did a plan in terms of prioritizing these. So we prioritized the ERP solution because that is the basis on which all these other systems would run. The ERP solution will enable us to run our membership system more effectively. And once we do that, ultimately the voter register will come from there, and we needed to ensure that we have a single point of truth with regards to the voter register, and we needed to have a system that is reliable in that sense. So that's how come we prioritize that, and then followed by the membership module. Obviously, we needed to ensure that with all the financial systems in place and the payment options in place, the membership module would be key to ensure that our members are served better and they are registered and they begin to participate in all the affairs of the association that they are mandated to. And then the third priority then became the e-voting that would then ride on these two systems. And finally, the event management. Then the second aspect that we had to consider was the cost. I did mention that we looked at the financial position of the secretariat, and also looked at what was available in the market in terms of the costs. Colleagues, it was very clear that the budget that we were dealing with at the secretariat and what was in the market, there was a very huge difference. We were dealing with a very low budget, understandably so. And so we needed to look at ways in which we could fit into that. So we took that in all the decisions that we were making with regards to the approach that would take, had to take that into consideration. So, I think as I will be explaining finally what we had recommended, you will notice that we had to take this into consideration. And then we also obviously had to look at the scope. Initially, I think when registrar stood before us at the AGM, the scope was very limited to just enhancing the membership module and implementing the electronic voting. But I think after doing a detailed analysis, it was very clear that the underlying systems also needed to be worked on. And so the scope got extended to include the ERP and of course the event management. So that was also taken into consideration in terms of how much we needed to do. So colleagues, maybe I can, in the interest of time, I'll skip a few things so that I can go straight into looking at some of the things that we considered in our approach. Okay. So in our approach, we analyzed what we could be able to do within the budget with respect to the ERP. And we also looked at the resources available at the secretariat. And one of the things that came out was that we did have some fairly good colleagues at the secretariat who had expertise in implementing some of these ERP solutions. And based on the research that we did with what
Hi, Tim. Is Elton still speaking? We can hardly hear you.
Please bear. Kindly bear with us. We're dealing with a technical issue at Secretariat. Mr. Elton will continue shortly. Just resolving a technical issue. We shall continue soon.
Apologies. I think we had an issue with internet connection here, so we just connecting back. We continue. Apologies.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think we lost connection there. I'm not even sure at what point so I'll just continue. Please feel free to ask in case there's something that was missed. So with regards to what we considered, we made a recommendation on Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central for it to be implemented here at the Secretariat using the team at the Secretariat. And I think this was meant to also save on the cost, in that we'll just have to look at sourcing for funds for licenses. So this is underway. I think it has gone up to about 65% in terms of implementation. Then we also looked at the membership module. I think looking at the requirements that we had received from the Secretariat and also what was in the market, we thought this needed to be subjected to a tender process. So we made that recommendation. And that was equally adopted by Secretariat, and it went through the necessary process of tendering, and a successful bidder was picked. And this implementation has equally started. I'm sure, I think in due course, you should be able to see some changes with regards to our membership module, our membership portal in that respect. And maybe just key to mention is that even when we're picking the bidder, we did emphasize to registrar that we needed to settle for a company that is also in good standing with the association with regards to membership, among other requirements like the statutory regulatory requirements. So I think that was equally considered and adhered to. And then we also looked at I'll end with e-voting for obvious reasons. So we also looked at the event management system. This we had put it as at the bottom of the list in terms of priority. And also just looking at the budget, we recommended to Secretariat that we defer this particular implementation to 2024 for two reasons. One, so that we could budget for it in the 2024 budget and implement it from there. And also just to ensure that we give ourselves enough time to address these three critical systems that have a very huge impact on the success of our upcoming AGM. So I think as we go through this quarter, we'll be getting more updates from Registrar on how this looks like with regards to implementing it. But in terms of the requirements and everything that was done, I think what remains is for us to begin to implement this, of course, with availability of resources. And then finally, the e-voting. So we looked at different options. There were options relating to us developing our own, and there are options to look at leveraging on other existing systems. So I will just give you an overview on some of the key things that we found. Sorry, I think there's someone whose mic is on. Okay, I'll continue. Someone can just mute. Okay. All right. So, so again, whether we're looking at developing our own system or getting an already existing system, we did take into consideration those items that I mentioned: time, cost, quality, and that is what I'll be speaking to. So, with regards to the e-voting, what we picked was that going with developing our own system has its positives and negatives. Of course, the positive would be that it will be our own. It's something that we own. Eventually, we can even use it or rent it out in that sense and generate funds out of it. But the other side of it is that we needed enough time to implement that. We needed enough time to have it tested. We needed enough time to ensure that the security aspects of that are addressed. The user experience side of those things are addressed. And there are also aspects to do with this system needed to be covered in terms of support and maintenance. And coupled with that includes the infrastructure side of things. And we're looking at a period of under 6 months to do all that. So even just picturing a situation where we are voting and the system goes down, I think that's one of the things that we needed to really picture even as we are going through this process. So that is one option, and those are the pros and cons that we did look into. And then there was another option to look at a cloud-based system, an already existing system that we can ride on. So some of the positives that we picked out from this is that number one, these systems that are cloud-based are not just used by us. They've been used by many other institutions, and through that, obviously they've undergone different tests with regards to reliability, user experience, security, and all that. So we'll be jumping on something that has done some fairly good amount of rounds among different users and has been enhanced in that respect. And also, we'll not have to worry about support. We'll not have to worry about maintenance, especially that it's cloud-based. We would also have some fairly good amount of stability with regards to the security of that system. And also the other thing we had to consider, even just looking at cost, we had to ask ourselves, how often are we going to be using this system? Primarily, this system will largely be used for our AGM elections, which will be happening once every 3 years. So we needed to address that aspect of how much can we do now for a system that will be using once every 3 years, looking at the time that we had. And so we looked at some of the systems that had been used by other institutions, like I said. So Zika had their own that they had developed. I think it had gone through several tests for a couple of years. It's still being perfected, but I think it's better where it is now. But it's purely for them. And then these other institutions I mentioned use I've used in the recent past these same cloud-based solutions. So ZMA, MWAS, and I think ISACA. For those of us who participated in some of the elections, would see that the solutions they use the cloud-based solutions. So we explored some of them, which include name of vote, e-ballot system, elections runner, elections buddy. And we did these platforms allow you to do some tests of your own, some dummy elections, and so on and so forth, which we did. And so in terms of cost, quality, and usability, one of them that stood out from what we looked at was the elections runner platform. And so the only cost that we needed to incur on this is just to pay for, they would allow us to pay just for the number of voters that we expect. For example, if our voter register is 1,000, then we'll just make a payment to that effect, and they'll give us a profile that we'll be able to use. And that profile is not one-off, it will remain our profile. Even for future elections, we just pay for the number of voters we expect and create an election and proceed. So that turned out to be more affordable vis-a-vis the budget constraints, and also looked like an option that would work best with regards to the time that we had to implement this. So we went ahead to make this recommendation to Secretariat that we consider a cloud-based solution that will then allow us to run this, the elections for the upcoming AGM more effectively. And I think the other justification was that this will then give Secretariat some fairly good amount of space to focus on completing the ERP and the membership module, because those are the systems that will ultimately generate the voter register that will then feed into this system that we use. So it's a fairly simple system. I think at an appropriate time, we should be able to run some dummy elections with all of you so that everybody just get a feel of the system and just appreciate, rather than coming to use it on the very day, just to help even with the aspect of change management. So I think that's where we are. So that system is ready. We've done a number of tests on it already, and we are fairly comfortable that it will give us the results that we want with regards to performance and just overall management of the election. And this is the recommendation that we gave to Secretariat, and I think through Secretariat, this recommendation was also subjected to other committees, including the Electoral Committee. So that is basically an update on where we are. And I think from this subcommittee and on behalf of my colleagues, I would just like to say we are fairly confident that from the system side of things and with regards to managing the elections, we should not worry. I think we are at a better place than where we were last year. And I think ours is to support the Secretariat to give us the best election experience that we've never experienced before, and we can only get better. Yeah. So with that, I'll hand back to Registrar, and I think if there will be questions later on, I'll still be around to speak into that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Matariki, should I say Chair of PDD. I won't labor much to explain what he has explained. So of course, the recommendations were submitted to my office, of which I also looked into them and further submitted them to Executive Council. So Executive Council made the resolution to say, in consideration what was put on the table, Executive Council resolved that for this upcoming AGM, or elective regime of elections, we proceed to adopt a cloud solution. And nevertheless, thereafter, we still develop our own e-voting system, especially as we are Ictaz. And look, taking everything into consideration, I think that was a more viable approach. So as we speak, I am here to confirm as a registrar that our 15th AGM, which will be elective AGM, will vote electronically, election runner. Moving on to a next point. As we are heading toward the elections, there is one critical document which we needed to put in place, and this was the electoral rules. We know we've got a constitution which provides for the elections, how we usher in our leaders in office, and to kickstart, to ensure that we have the electoral rules in place, and of course, with overwhelming support from my council, we went on to constitute another team, which we are calling the elections team, which was going to formulate what was going to be eventually called the electoral rules. So again, the council supported and gave the mandate to proceed, and we reached out, we constituted a 5-member team. So this 5-member team, the composition was a representative from LADS, who was going to chair the team. We needed a senior representative from the Ministry of Technology and Science, our line ministry, a senior member there. We needed a representation from Electoral Commission of Zambia. We needed at least 2 fellow members of the association. We also further needed a representation from TIZ, Transparency International Zambia. So we went on to write to all these institutions. We wrote to LAS, we wrote to ECZ, that is the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and of course we wrote to TIZ as well. We were happy that from all those we wrote to, only TIZ did not respond to us. So from the Ministry of Technology and Science, we were given Assistant Director Avani, who sat on that committee. From Electoral Commission of Zambia, they gave us Mr. Churu Chipakata. Mr. Churu Chipakata is not only our member, but is someone who has had so much experience in the elections, running of elections. Mr. Chipakata is currently serving as database administrator at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and is a national election master trainer and an accredited bridge, that is building resources in democracy, governance, and elections facilitator. He has a quite extensive experience in management of elections, not just at a national level, but at district and at other levels. So he was a very critical resource to the team. Then from the fellow side, we went on to nominate Mr. David Makadani Zulu. Mr. Zulu is a senior lecturer at the University of Zambia. He's been a lecturer and he's lectured quite a number of those who've passed through UNZA. And then on the other side also we had Ms. Christine Simfukwe, who is a fellow member of the association as well, but also Director ICT at the other ECZ. This is the Examinations Council of Zambia. Then Laz gave us Mrs. Valerie Kawangu Chiombe, She's a legal practitioner with over a decade experience at the Zambian bar. She's an expert in electoral law and electoral reform. Obviously, she's got vast experience in election processes, petitions, and modernization of electoral processes in line with modern trends. She's got extensive knowledge in political and electoral history of Zambia. And obviously, following the 2021 general election, she sat on the local government election tribunal as a 3-member panel petition concerning councillors and obviously council chairpersons, election petitions in Porokoso district of the northern province of Zambia. She was also a valuable member of the tribunal, having extensively studied the electoral registration, the Processes Act number 35 of 2016, the Constitution, case law, and also having sat on research expert with a judge at Mongu and Kakama in 2016. Of course, her master's is focused on corrupt practices in parliamentary elections, and obviously she's got some journal article at the URL I'm happy to share. So she recently concluded a 2-year tenure serving as vice chairperson of the Nominations and Elections Committee of the Engineering Institute of Zambia. So we were quite happy with the profile of the person they gave us, and she subsequently became the chair of the elections committee. So having run with that team for quite some time, the elections team delivered what we now have, and obviously is to say that the first electoral rules of our association document, which was shared with every one of us, it was put on our website I think 2 or 3 days ago, and it was every one of us were asked to go through so that as we meet today, we are able to speak into that document. I don't expect that we are going to go line by line, but I love the members of this, the members, just to hear a few words from the chairperson. The chairperson who chaired this committee. She's with me here. I just ask her to greet you, and then she's very much happy to take questions at the end should you have any specific questions to her concerning the document, concerning the association, and anything else. So just allow me to bring on the forum the chairperson for the election committee. That's it. Second, just yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Valerie Kawamuchi, was previously introduced by your registrar, and I was chairperson of the committee that was drafting the electoral rules. I'm well informed that the document was circulated to yourself, and that if you have any feedback to give on the documents, if you've got clarifications to seek, I'm here to answer those questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair, for that. So in that aspect, maybe just a few days before we published, maybe a day or so before we published the electoral rules, again, we shared with you, our members, the build-up calendar to the training conference and expo. Council approved our submission that we hold our 15th annual general meeting at Avani Victoria Falls Resort. As usual, to be combined to have a mini expo, training, and AGM itself, conference and AGM. So the AGM will be held on 5th April 2024. Nevertheless, it will be preceded by the conference on the 4th of April, and then we're going to have training from the 2nd to 3rd. Then the second day, which is the 3rd, in the afternoon, we're going to have a B2B meeting as well as a B2C meeting. So we want to have roundtable meeting. This is business to business and business to consumers, where you, our members, as one of way of delivering value to you, you, our members, will come have round tables where you have members come and understand what solutions you're providing, and you also meet other business providers and your consumers as well. We want to take advantage and bring everyone in one space as one of the ways to deliver value. I'm not going to go into the calendar line by line, but I wanted to highlight some of the most critical dates. Today is the 19th of January 2024, as promised. As a registrar, I'm here addressing issues to do with the elections or the run up to the AGM and the elections. And next week, Tuesday, 23rd January, we'll issue a notice of the AGM. In principle, you agree with me that this notice will be academic because by virtue of the calendar, we've already notified that we have this AGM on this date, but we'll fulfill the constitutional mandate and constitutional requirements and do as such. On the very day, we are going to issue notice for filing of election nominations. So again, as per the requirement of the Constitution, this will be done, all these will be done 60 days before the elections. Those dates, if you go through them, you notice that they are within the constitutional requirements. The week of the 5th to 9th is the period for filing of nominations. So again, that week we'll keep on reminding our members, but the calendar has been issued. Please let's keep that calendar close to ourselves. Thereafter, we are going to have publication of minutes and annual reports, which is scheduled for 20th February, again, within the period which the Constitution requires us to do so. I also want to take advantage of this moment and respond to some of the queries, obvious feedbacks. And members, let me emphasize the aspect that as the association, I can speak on behalf of the council and the secretariat that as the association we value feedback quite a lot. So please feel free to reach out to us, give us feedback. We are very happy to take it and look into it. So one of we received was that the members wanted to have the audited financial reports at least a week before the AGM. You will agree with me that according to the notice of publication of minutes and annual reports, you agree with me that the reports was a plural there, and the reports were not very specific to which reports we are going to publish. In short, what I'm indicating is we didn't exclude the audited financial reports. When I say we're going to publish the reports, the audited financial reports are amongst them. So I thought I'd just give clarity to that which was raised. Further, on the 1st of March, there will be Ictaz President address to members and the launch of the campaign period. Again, like I've indicated, we value feedback very much, and please, it's the only way we're going to hear from you. There was also another feedback which was given where the concern was made that the president should not launch the elections period. I also want to indicate here that you will agree with me that there was nowhere in the report we did indicate that the president was going to launch the elections period or whatever, the campaign period. So it was an and there, meaning it was just two things which will be done on the same day. The same way we are having the notice and the notice for the AGM and notice for filing of elections. But nevertheless, we really value feedback, and that is what keeps us to check and to continuously improve. 3 days after the launch, the opening of the official campaign period will start. 2 days later, publication of provisional voter register will be published. But then, when the electoral rules have been drafted from the Constitution, aids that we read thoroughly so that we are all aligned. The Constitution mandates us to have a voter register at least 30 days before. So those who are paid up by 30 days before the elections are the ones who are going to vote. You know, sometimes it feels bad to omit someone based on some technicalities in the Constitution, but again, I should be the first person to enforce the Constitution. It will be unfortunate to have someone who pays after that period to come and you leave them out. But then it will also be unconstitutional for me to do such. We've issued the calendar in advance, and it will just be fair that all of us are aligned as such, because then it will make life easier for every one of us, including the secretariat, my team, and myself. And of course, the Constitution demands that 21 days before the AGM, we receive the motions for the AGM. So we've put 15th March 2024 as close of receipt of motions. Members, you also help the association, the council, and secretariat by ensuring that we receive the motions in advance. According to the Constitution, motions should not be raised during the AGM. And it will be very unfortunate if we bring new motions which won't be in the business pack, which won't be received in good time, and then not to table them at the AGM. But it will just be constitutional right that we do so. So let's just gather any motion we want to be deliberated upon and submit as per the Constitution guidelines. So the close of receipt is 15th March 2024. And then, of course, from the 2nd to 3rd, our AGM training, pre-AGM training will start. On the 3rd in the afternoon, we want to have meet the sponsors, B2B and B2C meeting, roundtable meetings. So we want to create a business forum. Then, of course, on the 4th of April, we are going to have our AGM, our conference, rather, pre-AGM conference. And 5th of April in the morning, we are going to have our AGM. This time around, we want to make sure that things are as per the plan, so that not where we are finishing our AGM late at night. We want to finish in good time so that people could have time to network and things like that. So that starts with every one of us. It starts with proper planning. It starts from us respecting the dates which have been set for us, and it will help every one of us to be in tune. So from the calendar, of course, as per article number 11 of our Constitution, you are members, you have given the powers to our council, obviously, to constitute what we call an electoral committee, which should have a composition of the returning officer, who shall be an independent person and obviously not a member of the association. Further, we should have 5 elections officers from amongst the members of the association. The Constitution further stipulates their functions as such. Council, through my office, has appointed that 6-member team. For obvious reasons, Ms. Kawango has been retained and appointed as a returning officer who's going to chair this committee. We've brought in Professor Jameson Imbale as an election officer, who is also a senior member of the association. I think I don't need to really labor to introduce Professor Imbale to this member. I think earlier on he was with us. Dr. Greg Cholansofu, Director ICT at Bank of Zambia, has been also appointed as the elections officer. Now, I got permission to proceed, but of course his appointment is done with consent from the governor, of which my office, as council through my office, has already reached out to the governor over such an aspect, but we are just yet to get final feedback on that aspect. There is no intention of changing him, but should maybe for one reason or the other, the governor decides not to grant us permission or notify you in good time. And obviously, there's all the evidence of the letters and such. But we've gotten verbal consent from himself, and is more than willing to save on the team. We've also written to the PS, permanent secretary, to give us one person from the ministry, senior member, and the PS, as in his wisdom, agreed has retained Ms. Annie Mwerwa Munsaka to the as elections officer as part of this team. But then, of course, we requested that Mr. Chipakata Churu also be retained in this committee for, again, obvious reasons. We are going with e-voting. His experience, I think, is very, very much appreciated. And then, obviously, the sixth person of the committee, who is the fifth person of fifth elections officer, is Miss Vivian Miss Vivian Mirumbe, who is the Chief Operations Officer for Zambia National Building Society. Members, you would agree with me that this is a very, very high caliber team, and council and secretariat have high confidence that they will deliver the mandate with the levels our members expect from them. And equally, I have no doubt that that will be done. Unless I've left anything, we don't wish to keep you longer, but then let me, from now, allow or invite questions, which we'll be happy to pick. So for the sake of fairness, we should be notifying by raising of the hand, because obviously there is a sequence in which the queue will be generated and you follow that queue. Unless otherwise, let's give chance to others also to ask questions, because we have about 150 members here logged in. So maybe we can make questions brief, straight to the point. Maybe, unless otherwise, one question per person. Then when we have time, we would also allow second or third question from those who may wish to ask questions. Thank you so much. So I think I'll be taking 3 questions at a time, which will help us expedite. Mr. Kasolo, please go ahead.
Hi guys, just a quick one. You guys have requested that renewal of membership, and I don't know which email to use, because a couple of days ago I sent an email to the compliance department and I haven't received any response to that. So I don't know what email you guys are using for the renewals. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that question. So for the sake of, I'm asking for permission with all due respect. You know, there are some names, like some of our names, Chella, Silavwe. One person may not know which one is the first name, the surname, whether I am a Mr. or a Mrs. Allow me to just address you by first name. Not that I'm disrespecting you, because I'll be getting maybe confused whether I should say Mr., Mrs., and it could also sometimes be offensive, especially if someone has mistaken you for some years. Please allow me, but I really hold every one of you with high respect. Yes, Alex.
Thank you very much. Hope I'm audible enough.
Yes.
Okay, to begin with, I would like to say kudos to you, Mr. Silavwe, and the team for constituting teams with vast experience to help us improve different processes in the operations of the association. However, I've noticed that when it comes to the implementation of systems that have been presented, I don't know why I feel like it sounds like we are in a hurry, like systems are being implemented in such a hurry. They sound like they are temporal solutions, and they are not solutions that we can rely on for long time benefits. In addition to that, I feel being an ICT association, we need to be in the forefront of developing these solutions in-house so that we can also commercialize them and make some money out of them, because the challenges that we are facing, obviously other associations are facing them. Over. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, since there's no any hand pending. Okay, Sydney. Sydney
Mpampansha.
Also, sorry, my apologies. Yeah,
No, it's all right. It's it's a nickname. So as a result, we accommodate that. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to concur with my previous speaker, Mr. Alex, I think I would agree with him that the development of the system should be our major target. I think going forward, and we really appreciate every effort that you have made in making these preliminary arrangements to make sure that the programs that rise ahead for this year should happen, I think, in accordance. But I think going forward, I would go for Mr. Alex's proposal that we try and lead everything in terms of IT development applications and systems, so that we just provide that assurance and security to the people of Zambia, and also just to build more confidence to us that we can do it, instead of relying on systems that are developed by other organizations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Allow me to respond to those, then we can pick the next three. Please just keep your hand raised so that we could follow that order. But obviously for sitting, I'm sure I can have the hand dropped. So it's really quite hard to call people by their first names, but I'm really trying. Please forgive me. Timothy, allow me to apologize for the delay. At no point do I wish to give excuses, but right now my team is quite overwhelmed with the requests we are bringing in. I think this actually testifies or helps me to respond to the next question, which comes out like we are in a hurry. Indeed, the need for us to have a comprehensive ERP system can't wait for tomorrow. Look at just a complaint or the feedback Timothy has given us. Right now, the system we had, which served us quite well, which was there, lived its lifespan, and there was need for us to build on that. My team is trying very much. It's trying its best to ensure that we serve you to the best of the ability, but at the same time doing the right thing. But I don't want to use that as an excuse, and I really apologize on my behalf of my team and myself, and taking responsibility for each of such. But I promise that you'll be attended to soonest possible time. Thank you so much for the feedback. But I promise that we are going to attend to you. Just to emphasize, I think my colleague will put on the site chat the email we are using, just for confirmation that that's the one we've used. Please, for expedited service to you, write to us on info@ictaz.org.zm, but my colleague will put on the site chat. A phone call, a WhatsApp message, maybe to a personal number, may delay because I may not have an opportunity to monitor that. So write to that email and we'll attend to you in the quickest possible time. Thank you so much for the compliment of the effort you are putting in. I think it's because obviously we have the leadership in place, which is visionary and is really supporting us. We've got the executive council, which has given us 100% support. And not just that, but also I have a team here at Secretariat which is highly dedicated, and it's a team which is really working so hard to ensure that we save you. I'm just privileged to be here, but the guys who are doing the actual work are here at Secretariat. That's why, please, when you're passing, you just pass through, just say hi. We have a bottle of water. We feel nice, and we feel that our members, they are thinking for us. The solutions, we needed them like yesterday. I wouldn't emphasize. Nevertheless, I can assure you that this, I will just recall what the words I used when I stood before you at the AGM. I said that we wanted to put solutions which will stand a test of time. And this is what we are actually doing. When the system starts working, you will really, really be so proud of the association. That I can assure you, and the executive council is giving us oversight to ensure that that is actually done. But thank you so much for that feedback. It's very valuable. I totally agree with you about the importance of developing our own solutions. I think this is the emphasis of this was also done. So I'll answer them collectively. And this is the wish by every one of us. And like you, if you heard what I said, council, after reviewing all the proposals which were done, they gave a go ahead to say, okay, for this coming year GM, let's use a cloud solution, while immediately after we start developing our own solution. And we are going to have an opportunity to test this solution for the coming AGMs for motion voting in readiness for the elective AGM. You agree with me that at every level in life, the biggest challenge is to balance short-term strategies to long-term strategies. And that is what was basically being worked on, to balance those. But otherwise, thank you so much for that feedback. It's very well noted. Allow me to move to Owen, Adinani, then Maxwell.
Okay. You thought that you had remediated? Yes, on my part, the question that I have is, first of all, I want to thank you for the initiative of coming up with the online voting system that will be implemented before the voting day, because there used to be a lot of voter apathy because the institutions were unable to sponsor as many to participate in the conference. So only a few would represent, and the majority of the members stayed back in the offices and they wished they could participate in the voting. So this is a very good move, and it should be appreciated and supported by everyone. So now the only question I wanted to pose is, there are usually some institutions that I've seen, they usually make up a schedule on who attend the conference this year and next year and all that, because they can't afford to support and sponsor everyone. So for instance, if there's someone who's remained behind in the office who would want to participate in who wants to be a candidate, so to say, to be voted for, can they be nominated and submit their nomination forms through online and do the campaigning online, or they just need to be part of the physical conference? That is my ask.
Sorry, Owen. Just summarize your question. At some point, we lost connectivity. Just a quick summary of your question. My apologies.
Or if there's someone who would want to stand in the elections, but they won't be physically be at the conference, is the system going to give that platform for someone to campaign, submit their nomination papers and all, or they just need to be physically present at the conference?
Thank you. The question is noted. Can go to Okay, I've seen Adinani's hand has dropped because it was ahead of Maxon. So I don't know if I assume maybe the question has been handled. So we go to Maxon. Maxon?
Thank you, Theo. Am I audible?
Yes. I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Registrar. We have heard of the good works that you and your team are putting forth. Mine is a very quick one. I've not been privy to the association's constitution, but being in the coming from the background of education, I just have a question, or rather, I don't know if this will be put as a motion. Charge of education, or rather that spearheads educational matters, not just amongst the members, but even amongst the schools, the colleges, and the universities that we have around. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the questions. Thank you. Again, the compliment on the online initiative, and thank you for the support you've committed to keep going, giving us. Yes, of course, this is the association for every one of us, and like I keep emphasizing, council is always, executive council is always committed to delivering on the mandate and the responsibility bestowed upon them. And through their support and the support of the secretariat I have, we are there to serve you in the best interest we can. But of course, the most critical part is the feedback you give us. The phone calls you call us, you give us feedback on what you're supposed to improve on, what we should do next. I think that is what makes us to get better every day, because we do accept that we are not the custodian of the wisdom, but we know that from your feedback, from understanding where we need to concentrate and focus on, it's making us better. So indeed, the online platform for voting is there, and this time around we are voting electronically. Can you stand without being present at the AGM? Of course, yes. If your nominations, you file nominations and they are accepted and they are valid before the returning officer, and then you'll be eligible to stand. At the end of the day, that's the whole essence of voting. You don't really need to be there physically, but for as long as you fulfill the due process of the elections. Subcommittees which spearhead education. Of course, council has been working on a policy or a resolution which is going to fully incorporate the ICICT, or rather research and development subcommittee. The research and development subcommittee, wow, I think I hope I'm not preempting, because this is under process. I hope I'll still have my job after this address, but nevertheless, we are working on ensuring that the research and development subcommittee is fully functional. Recently, we had this conference. It was focusing more on journal development and publication, but it's been completely been looked into how it can turn into research and development. We also have the student chapter function within our mandate. So we want to see how we could incorporate the two, so that we tap talent right from the universities, even before universities, into the academia and things like that. Happy to get more information, or we can exchange notes on the site. Please reach out to me. My colleague will, the same email address which has been used, or I could give you my direct email address. Please reach out to me in case you have some notes we could exchange, especially that the development of that the initiative is in its infant. Thank you so much. I could see hands coming out and then they're going down. Yes, Dominic. Dominic. Okay, I'd earlier seen hands from Dominic and Arinani, so maybe we could be in that order, Dominic then Arinani.
Okay, mine is thank you for the opportunity. My question rather is what positions are being are available for elections? Maybe if you could just run through that.
Thank you, Dominic. Arinani, are you still there?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm still here.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So I've got just I think two questions. Number one is I heard the presenter saying that you've written to various organizations to participate on the Electoral Commission, but you did write to Transparent International and they haven't yet responded. So my proposal is that are you able to replace TICZ with either SEC or this? Because I believe in every elections we see police around just to maintain law and order. Are you able to consider that? And secondly, have we done the testing and validation of the e-voting system, given that we are starting our AGM in the next 2.5 months? Are we comfortable with the test results? Have we done extensive testing on these, simulations and all those things so that we are all comfortable? And have we ensured that there will be no rigging? Because, as much as we know as IT people, there is room for rigging when it comes to elections. Is this system rig-proof, if I can put it in that way? And who is going to ensure that the system is not subject to fraud, manipulation, and many other more things? Those are my two questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arinani. Okay, first of all, let me start with the positions which are variable. Thank you. That's a very important question. So currently, Council has 12 positions. We have the president, his vice, then we have the national secretary, national treasurer, then we got various committees, which have the chairpersons, then we got 2 committee members. For now, let me say, apart from professional and ethics committee, all those will be up for, they will fall vacant on the 5th of August when council is dissolved. Now, in addition, we're going to have, we're going to usher in for the first time the committee members of the professional and ethics committee. So now what will happen is, according to the regulations and the rules, the Ictaz regulations and the rules, membership, would vote for a membership registration board, then we'll go chairperson membership, which may turn into membership and registration board chairperson. Then eventually we'll have a committee appointed by council for others. And then the professional and ethics compliance, the committee will be voted, then things like that. So should you need more information prior to the filing of nominations, so that maybe you want to make your decision better, please reach out to us on the email on the site info@ictaz.org.za. My colleague will also put the phone numbers. We've done the test. Okay, since TIZ did not respond, can we replace them with ASCC or Zambia Police? I absolutely agree with you. You want to explore alternatives. Look at this. When we wrote to TIZ, we are making the elections committee, which were coming up with electoral rules. We were so happy with the team we had. Despite TIZ not having responded, I think we got a very solid team, and you agree with me that it has delivered. So Yeah, but for the electoral committee, the constitution only allows that only the returning officer should be a non-Ictaz member. The rest should be Ictaz member. In short, there was no need of us going to have TIZ on the electoral committee. Nevertheless, we have provisions of the monitors, the election monitors, who we are yet to write to and appoint. So we still have room to have TIZ on the team. For SEC, yeah, I agree with you. The initiative is good, but the one thing I've come to learn with the ICT people is they're very corrupt-free people. I can say this with my head high. So I'm not really sure if we could have SEC, but we have other bodies like Caritas and things like that for election monitoring. But the police, yeah, the police are just there to ensure there is law and order. And I think there's no harm in having the police doing our AGM just to have a good environment. I agree with you. So I think those are good initiatives to consider. Have we done the testing? Yes. The testings have been done, validation has been done. The system is a cloud system which has been used by so many people, has got very good reviews. I think I will put the URL on the site. It's very transparent. There's nothing we're hiding so that everyone of us can see it. And I would also, we are IT people, it would be good if you also tried to hack it and come to us on the side to say, managed to hack the system, has got these flaws. Trust me, I'll be the very first person to bring it down, and I'll not shy away from the members to say the system has got flaws. Like the PDD chair said, we are happy to run a dummy elections for the members so that we just get conversant with the system. Maybe with permission from the council, which has already endorsed on the calendar, I'll go back and split on your behalf, and council has always been supportive. We slot a line on the calendar for the election testing so that people could have a feel of how the system is working. And I wish sure that there will be no rigging. Trust me, there is no reason to do that. And the transparency from the onset, even this conversation we are having, it should give you the confidence that just look at the electoral team we have. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that, but I can assure you to say that there's no reason. And I'm here. I'll be the last person who wants to leave a legacy that I was presided over, or even the returning officer is here with me. I don't look at her CV. She serves on the bigger forum. I don't think she wants to come and have a name to say she was involved in this kind of for Ictaz. We've got a bigger association we need to build, not to be found in the press for wrong reasons. Edwin, then Rita. Edwin, then Rita.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Registrar. And thank you for the work that has been done this far. I can see as an association we are making progress. I've got two questions. One is concerning the system, not entirely the registration system, but I mean the voting one. It's on the registration. Last time when we converged in Livingstone, I think we had issues with
Sorry, you are a bit faint. We can't easily. We can't hear you. I don't know if you could speak up, like louder a bit.
Am I audible now?
Yes, but not quite. But I'll try my best.
Oh, sorry for that. I think it's the take itself. How about now?
Yes, we'll try. Go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I was saying last time that we had our AGM, I think we had issues with the registration system. We were doing manual registration in most cases. Have you come up with a system that will probably help us to do the registration properly and to confirm who has paid and so forth? Then the second one is our current president eligible for this coming election? Thank you.
Okay, I think I got the questions. Okay. So maybe for the sake of the rest. So the first question is, okay, so first of all, Edwin has complimented the effort being made. I mean, like I've always kept saying, it's the team which is at Secretariat and the Executive Council which are working tirelessly. And thank you so much to recognize the effort. Like I've always said, I'm just privileged to be the face, but the team which is really working is other people. On the registration, frustration at events, I agree with you. It's really so the past times it's really frustrating. That I agree with you, and our efforts are really being made. That's why the registration system was one of the critical projects we put before the project delivery team to assess. We've been taking baby steps, and in one of the four, I can't share this out. We had conversations with last Zika, learning one or two things. They were very frank and straight to us. They say, guys, take your steps. We've been in existence for 4 decades. Look at how many lessons we've learned. So sometimes we also hit ourselves so hard, like we want to be where these guys are, but look at the lessons they've picked. But the good part with us, we are highly privileged to pick lessons from them since they've already lived, walked our path. The registration is really cumbersome, especially at AGMs, and from all the sudden people come, and so we are trying our best to find a very smooth way of improving on that. We may not attain it 100% at the upcoming AGM, but we'll put systems which will make it very smooth. But again, I want to commit the same way I committed during the last AGM to say 2024 will never end. We should have a very smooth registration system. Not because our events, it's not just the AGM, we have other events which are coming up, but we are very much committed to see to it that we do better this year. Is the current president eligible to stand? I wish I had that answer. I mean, nominations will be filed in before the returning officer who would validate all nominations. Whether the current president is eligible to stand or not, it's not within my powers to determine. I hope that answers your question. We've done an hour and a half. It's not within my wish to cut people's questions, but there's no hand. Okay, we've got one, Tembo, and then M squared.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, thank you.
Thanks. A lot of progress made on your end. We thank you for that. Just a few things. If this is going to help have a successful AGM, a few things such as payments being made and on-time invoicing being gathered and given to all the members is very, very key. At the moment, the platform is not so responsive, hasn't been responsive for the past few weeks, I'd say months, even today. So we might find ourselves in a position where we have a lot of people that want to make payment but are not getting effective response time. So if the system can be looked at to probably help and assist, that would be good. I do understand that the Secretariat is flooded with a lot of requests. yes, we do understand, but it would be good to have the system probably optimized so people can access their profiles and do the payment as required, and probably get invoicing faster. If the system's down, it's going to be very difficult if we continue the manual process. We're looking into consideration. This is January, and we're having the AGM in April. So that's 3 months from now. So if it could be gladly looked into urgently, as you said, you've been putting some work into it, that we really appreciate that being sorted out. Thanks.
Thank you. M squared is the maybe why M squared is coming on board. Okay, allow me to respond to these questions. Payments being made and on anybody, I agree with you. The more we expedite, the better and for everyone. And yeah, I understand that we are not delivering at the rate we would love to. I can assure you that to help with that, we've gotten help. We have 2-3 extra hands which have come on board, and they are also helping. We understand our mandate and that we need to execute it efficiently. On the system being down, thank you so much for the feedback. I know that the system was down for quite a long time, and we managed to have it fixed, and it has been working for a good period of time. If it's down today, thank you for the feedback. I think a heads up, like I said, we value feedback. I'll quickly check with my team and ensure that it's up and running. But importantly, thank you for the support we receive from you and for the compliment. I mean, thank you so much. Mamadou.
Yes, my question is just on the site itself. When you're trying to log in, I don't think it's the login. The login, what is it, button or what, is not easily accessible or visible. So you have to like go around to find it. Is it possible to redesign such that it's easily accessible?
Thank you, Mamadou. Danny.
Thank you, Mr. Chella. Mine is just to commend you for the great work you've done, but there was a question that Edwin asked, and I thought that maybe you being the CEO, you would be able to give an answer since the rules maybe reside with you. Then the other one is to do with...
could you just repeat the question, Mr. Danny, so that maybe the one you are referring to, sorry.
I'm saying there was a question that Edwin raised.
Yes, could you repeat?
I was thinking that perhaps as CEO, you know the rules that govern who is eligible, or is it something that you have no right to answer? Okay, that said, the second one and last is, I think I reached out to the Secretariat concerning my membership, and twice spoke to a lady, says she was going to send me an email. I've waited 2 times, and at the end of the day, felt disappointed that why should someone tell me I'm sent them the email address, they never got back. I felt that I think we should do better in terms of customer care.
Okay, thank you so much. Allow me to start with the last question to prioritize in any way. For that response, you didn't receive, sorry to say, Danny. Let me take that responsibility and not that lady you've referred to. I think allow me to take that responsibility, and I should be the one you should refer to in this aspect. I'm sorry, and I'm really sorry for that delay. Like I've indicated, the volume of requests we are receiving. However, we are very committed, and I'm going to ensure that you've been responded to. Just ensure for me that you just counter check if the email address which has been shared on the chat, the one you used, because at times, not that I want to give an excuse, just to be sure that we've received the email. Maybe I could be thinking it was received when not, but I take responsibility, and please refer to me, not that lady, and let me correct that. Eligibility, if you notice on the calendar, the eligibility of everyone, people will be allowed to file in their nominations without segregation, without anything. If you've noticed, after they filed in the nominations, these nominations will be scrutinized, and there is a date in which, let me read wait, just allow me, 6th March 20, no, this one, sorry. The 12th February 2024, it will be publication of validly nominated candidates. Nominations will be filed before the returning officer, and then the electoral team committee will scrutinize those nominations. It is not within my powers or mandates to decide who is eligible, who is validly nominated. I'll be not even overstepping my boundaries. There's no even boundaries to step into in the first place. So on that one, if my answer is not satisfactory, I'm really sorry. But the best answer I can ever give on that one is that only the electoral committee will decide valid nominations. On the issue of the login pattern of the site, thanks for the feedback, and we really value it. We'll look into it, either in the shortest or medium term on the current application or the one which is being developed. You may wish to know that the entire interface, entire logic, the entire system is being changed. So we would weigh the cost of, I mean, when I say cost, sometimes as IT people, we think in other aspects, but the cost also means in terms of the resources, time, whatever. We'll wait to see, should we focus on this or we just implement what is currently worked on. But thank you so much for that feedback. Can I take the last 3 questions? Am I going to be allowed? So just we could maybe release people to prepare for knocking off, so that they could just attend to the last few things of the day, being a Friday. Allow me to take those few questions. Okay, Mama, do I want to assume that the question is still the same? Allow me to allow this issue of first names. It's really heavy. Kula.
CEO, thank you so much for organizing this webinar. It shows that the association is working, and we really appreciate your leadership and the leadership of the elected officials of the association. Thank you so much. My question is, do we have a list of all the positions that will be subject to elections so that people could prepare beforehand which positions they would want to vie for? And also, during the year 2024, do we have any revenue generating activities that have been planned by the association so that we can also prepare ourselves either to participate or contribute to ensuring that our association raises the required revenue for you to dispense your mandate effectively? CEO, thank you so much again for the leadership, and please let's continue on this trajectory. I think we are getting more value from the association. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Director. Thank you for the support you've given us. I think on many times you've reached out to me directly to help with 1 or 2 things. I think it's really valued, and thank you so much for opening your doors every time we need help. Thank you, Director. I think the publication of the positions and the available, I think it's very, very important. I think we'll take this as a feedback and we ensure that as soon as rather as early as Monday or Tuesday next week, we share the list. But currently, all the positions in our constitutions are up for elections, just so that people can know they don't have to wait for Monday. So the positions which we currently have in the constitution are up for being elected, and we will emphasize to that on Monday or Tuesday. But in short, when you go to the AGM, after the AGM, rather during the AGM, when the reports are submitted and all the motions have been debated and voted in, the current executive council is going to be dissolved and all the positions will be vacant, and there have to be elections. But the constitution has the positions, but you also publish those names. Then there is a question on this chart on the side. See, we are not responding to the question. Don't we have notes that govern our elections? What does the electoral guidance state on nominations? Can someone be president for 20 years? Wow. Alex, I think I've answered the question. Unless maybe I need to answer a question in a context which is, I don't know. Listen, it is it is outside my, I don't know what I can say. There's only one body which is going to determine validity of nomination. That's the electoral committee. Then when you say someone will be president for 20 years, I'm not sure our constitution guides on such aspect. Maybe us as members, we should carry the correct narrative outside there. And that is the narrative which the stakeholders of the association are going to get. If we are members and are not carrying the correct narrative, we're not helping the association at all. I'm not sure if there's any provision in our constitution. I'm not sure. There's no provision in the constitution which says one can be president for 20 years. Let's stick to the both legal and regulatory frameworks, which we've put for ourselves, which to govern ourselves. We've got the constitution, we've got the act, we've got the SIs. We have the policies, we have the rules. Let's stick to that. I may wish to go into the constitution and start citing some articles and read against that, but I don't know it's really necessary. The constitution stipulates how long one will be a president and how many times one can serve in the same position. Those are the things which the electoral committee is going to use. I'm not the one. I have no mandate to do such. Yeah, so I think the last question which was asked on fundraising activities. Thank you so much for that question. It's a very important question, and I think our financials are always put on our website, financial performance, and they are there for everyone to see. And the reason is simple. We are everything about the association is transparent. You will all agree with me to say, indeed, on the aspect of raising finances is one area we really need to work so much into. Even just on the fees which we are paying, we are collecting subscription. If we just compare it with others just within Zambia, you agree that our association has got the lowest paid. In short, what I'm trying to say is currently our income is not that very, very good that would use the revenue to deliver all the value we may want to deliver. And as such, like the question came, the council gives guidance and strategies on how we could enhance a little bit of the revenue for the association. So it was 1 or 2, but I can admit that we need to enhance a little bit more. And like the director indicated, I think let's see, sorry to say that, let me say, like Kula indicated in his capacity as a member, I think, please, the activities are very much welcome. The suggestions are very much welcome. We want to work on things like workshops, webinars, CPD types of professional development, which are going to help us improve a bit of the revenue. But we really need as much support from every one of us as possible. Thank you. Allow me to pick the last question from M Squared. I think he addressed it earlier, and then I think the hand dropped. I think this will be the last question, with your permission, of course. Thanks. M Squared.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir. I'm calling you from Wenlonga. My question is really a question, but at the same time, a contribution. Don't you think that it can be helpful to the association and the IT at large in local government if IT can be introduced as a department and not as a dependent that depends on other departments? Then how are you helping all your members? Like in local government, as it stands now, there is this restructuring. How are you helping us as IT people who have been regraded and degraded? How are you looking at things as an association? Thank you.
Very important question. You owe me some pineapples. When are you bringing me some pineapples? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the questions. Very important questions. I mean, it's high time as our members, the association stood up for our members for what is right, and I absolutely agree with you. We have so many strategies which we are implementing, guided by the council, obviously, and secretariat. I don't know, M Square, just last week, Friday, was that Friday last week? We had a conversation with the entire staff in Ministry of Local Government and the councils as well, which was extended to everyone. And most of these, we discussed them actually. It was a webinar on Friday, specifically discussing the problems in local government. I don't know if you attended that. I don't want to dwell so much into our, and the question you've asked was actually answered by myself. I don't want to, I will consider this as our bedroom problem with the local government, and happy to engage with you direct and discuss some of these things and the initiative we are putting for the local government. I can assure you that we are working towards that. Just yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, just yesterday we delivered the letter the Minister of Local Government, which is trying to address some of these challenges. But I don't want to go much into that depth, but very happy to engage with you on the site. I can share with you my phone number or the email address, but we are doing quite a lot. And I don't want to preempt some of these things, just waiting for the response from the PS, admin, local government, and these things. You start seeing the results for some of these things. But let's engage on the side, being a bedroom issue.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Colleagues, I know we have so many questions, but the Secretariat remains open. I remain open to engage. Council is always available. And let's not wait until there is an engagement of such nature to reach out to us. But we're always available. School Unza, I think I've loved to take your questions, but I think for the sake of, we've been talking for 2 hours, for the sake of allowing people to go and wrap up their day and their week, allow us to close the meeting. So members, thank you so much for your time, for your feedback, which is well noted, and every contribution question has been noted and written, and we not just ending on answering, but we'll go back and reflect on them further. But otherwise, thank you for the compliments, thank you for the support, thank you for everything. We remain here to serve you. Thank you and have a lovely weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.